Hey, wait, wait.
All right.
Oh, so you wanted to do the intro this time?
Oh, you can do it.
Hey, we're fine. Okay, yeah. So this is the second round of the AOR Ginetta GT5 League. Yeah, as you can see, we're actually coming underway in the first sprint race right now, as we're gonna start this race in the championship order, and it's Iser that's first, and randomly he's actually second on the grid, so he's going off first there. So I'm gonna check the standings again. Yeah, so we have Iser and then Storm, Hunter, and then actually talking about the standings, we have our top championship leader right now. Dafunk is not in this race, so that's certainly gonna put a wrench in his championship hopes. Do you have the standings?
They are up right now.
Yes, of course. I forgot to mention that I have my fantastic colleague in the commentary box with me as always, as that's some weaving if I've ever seen it, and that's the Desert Pack, of course.
Trying to keep
so
those
we have
tires up this
Fistopheles
time.
with me in the commentary box here, and
what's up, guys?
hey, I'm gonna be your race director this time, and it's Fistopheles broadcasting as always. So bear with me on the cameras this time. I tried to catch even more of this action, as we can see in like the first round. It was just intense action everywhere, and as we can see, Iser actually.
As I have it right now, I've put up the formation point, which is the point where the cars will form up into a double file line, and I'll pull up the acceleration point so you can see where they can start accelerating. Just after that, we'll jump right into the action as we have it. Here we go with the cars now coming down through turn 3 and the end of sector 1, slowly but surely creeping their way to sector 2 and to that formation point that I've just had up. As they have now stopped waiting for everybody to form up. As we can see, there is a car very far down the grid at the moment, which is Capo, who seems to have missed the starting shot by just a tiny bit.
He's in 18th in the championship league and the standings as well, so he's gonna have to catch up a fair few positions as well. So as you can see, he's just blasting after trying to catch up to everyone else. Are they still? Yeah,
they're slowly crawling forward as the tension rises as we're preparing to start off this. Well, technically this is the second round, but it is the third race of the AOR Ginetta GT5 League Season 1.
Yeah, I mean, considering how round 1 was so violent, I can't even imagine how this race is going to be in the rain even. So, yeah, the track temp is around 0 degrees as well, so this is one slippery track. So, yeah, probably going to be some carnage, and I'm going to try to catch it this time.
And as we've had it, actually, this type of car, it seems that a lot of drivers are struggling not with tire heat, but with tire wear, which is something that we're not really familiar with from GT3 racing, as the tires are very durable there, and we did not see any drivers having to pit for tires unless there was rain. So it'll be interesting to see how they deal with that, especially in these cold and slippery conditions. As we now around the final corner, turn 8 on this track, into the acceleration zone. Let's see when he starts off the race. And there he goes. And he has started the race as soon as he could. trying to find an outside line into that first corner, which is a 90-degree left-hander, which then goes right into the sweeping right-hander that is turn 2, and finishes off sector 3 after a short straight with turn 3. As we have it at the moment.
There's so many 2x2 here.
There are a lot of drivers side by side, but they seem to have kept it very, very clean here, as is expected in AOR, with 2 Desert Pack actually seemingly having gained a position here and moving up into second as well. So he takes that second position from Stormet and moves up. Icer still being able to defend that first position, and Stormet and 2 Desert Pack actually having a bit of contact there, with Stormet trying to take back that position he's just lost from 2 Desert Pack. With some action going on behind as well. Stormet now slotting in behind the blue Ginetta, with somebody actually almost going off. Cat Hunter having issues with oversteer on the exit of that chicane, or that S section right there, of turn 5 and 6. As we're currently watching a fight between Adalexis, Zero, Stefan, Boson, Higgs Boson, and I'm not sure who Cam is.
Campo?
That's Campo? Oh, that is Campo 675.
Oh, they're actually, is that 3 wide? Almost.
There might be going through it with
Kodiak,
King Kodiak going off in turn 1, so maybe having a bit of contact there with another car, or just blatantly missing that braking point there.
I think he just disconnected actually.
Or maybe he has just disconnected. Which is a shame for the AOR commentary squad. As we should call them, or as we tend to call him. With Higgs Boson actually going very unstable in this section of corners, now being right under attack from, I believe that is Flask, and losing that 10th position to Flask.
The Kusa moving up to 13th, it says, and my race feed is actually working this time, but he's in 14th, so it might be a little bit bugged. And there we have the Kusa in a similar fashion to round 1 there, as his oversteering quite a bit. Hopefully gonna keep it on track this time, as I think he went off like 4 or 5 times actually in round 1. So, he's side by side with Ginetta there. So, that's not Ginetta, that's JK. So, JK is actually fairly high up in.
We do have drivers here today that did not take part in the race last week. I believe JK is one of them. Cena is another one. ZXN, if you would pan over to number 9, is, I believe, another one. Yeah, ZXN Vo, another driver we did not see last week, so we'll have to get used to that name as well. But all of the other ones we've seen before, with Adalex actually struggling, seemingly struggling there a bit, but doing very well in that 7th position, gaining a few positions from where he started. Adalex is, of course, being a very fast driver. Currently in Tier 1 in the GT3 leagues. Also doing very well last week, but having, I believe, contact with somebody else, or spinning off and damaging his car nearly beyond repair. So having a very unfortunate ending to his race there. Let's see if he can do something to take... Well, as we have... Guy is going...
Scott? Is that Scott, actually?
That is Scott, indeed, who's also another driver we didn't see last week, I believe.
Yep, so Scott is coming in this way time, and there they go. There, man, it looks like they're 3 wide, but they aren't, so they're just so close. I think they might actually be 3 wide into turn 1 here, and that's a brutal 90-degree turner. So here they come then.
Scott around the outside, trying to squeeze himself right through there, and he actually manages to keep hold on to that position, it seems. Some great driving by Scott.
Scott was a legend in the season 9 in GT3 at least, because he dominated tier 2 and then moved up to tier 1 and has proven himself in that league. I mean that tier as well. So cool to see him here. He's probably going to be one of those we have to watch out for. And speaking of watching out, we have to watch out for T-Mac as well, because he was just a blistering fast man in the Ginetta in round 1, and he has the world record by far on this track as well. So he's probably going to be one to watch out for here as well.
Which is an interesting thing. Maybe it is just on my end, but you can kind of see his car shimmy across the track as if he's drifting it, constantly drifting it like a rally car, which is an interesting style that he's using. Similar, actually, I believe, how Michael Schumacher used to drive his Formula 1 cars in the rain. So it seems to be the fastest way of going around a corner.
Oh, 3 wide almost here.
They are intending to go 3 wide. I think that is Scott, Alexis, and Flask.
Oh,
with
there's someone.
ZX and Vo actually, or somebody going off there.
Oh, that's
somebody else slowing down, so they're going nearly 5 wide through a corner there, almost. So, with a car just hitting our virtual camera there, taking it out completely. And the person to come out in front out of all of that kerfuffle is Scott in 7th position. Alexis having lost a few positions there, being handed back to 10th. With Flask also seemingly gaining a few positions. And now losing that position to Alexis as I say that. So
yeah, the 9th place is the place to watch right now. That's Flask going off. No, that's not.
That was not Flask going off. That was ZX and Vo, or Nvo. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Like I said, is also a driver we did not see last week. So I'll have to get used to his name on the leaderboards.
Every time we go out in the straights, it's gonna be a 2 wide battle, it seems. So here comes Hunter now for Scott. And Scott actually moving it up to 6th now. I think Hunter was on the... yeah. Oh, he's lost a little bit of pace there, and that's allowed Stefan to catch up again, so...
With Hunter seemingly struggling with tire wear, as you saw his car drifting out very wide there. And losing quite a bit of pace there. Just behind him is Zero Stefan, who's trying to look up to take that position from Hunter, but now coming under fire from Alexis in return, and Alexis takes that opportunity and squeezes past Zero Stefan.
And I believe my suspicion was correct, and I actually, Kodiak, I can see that you're in the lobby right now. What happened? Did you...
Unfortunately, I had a family emergency I had to deal with very urgently, so I had to drop out, which is very annoying because I was right on pace with my teammate who's currently leading. But that's now sorted to my back. And yeah, I had to drop out very quickly, but never mind, that's the nature of the beast.
It is. That means you get to join us in the commentary box.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what they say, 3 heads are better than 2. Well, they don't, but...
I'm just along for the ride. You guys carry on unless you want me to kind of slip into commentator role.
Absolutely, we want to contact us. Absolutely, we're fine. I'm trying to... yeah, I can see you in the pits on the map there. So I guess you're still in the game.
I'm actually seeing the... I'm seeing exactly the same as the broadcaster. So, who...
Okay.
So, which one... I don't know which one of you is actually in control of cameras. Is it you, Fist? It's...
no, it's me.
Oh, no, it's Insul. So I can see what Fist sees.
Exactly.
And... man, Scott has just moved up the field here. I didn't realize that he was going to be so fast just coming in this round. And those puddles look so deadly.
They are very much so, and they pool in very, very specific areas. You can see various spots of them around, but they don't really do a great deal. But there's a couple of spots they really are very, very nasty. And through that chicane area, it's particularly on the apex, on the second apex, the left-hander, it's really, really nasty. So a lot of drivers... the tyre wear isn't really an issue. Temperature will be in the second race. But yeah, the puddles are very nasty. The drivers are going to have to be very, very careful about how they manage them. Oh, that's sending on the outside of 3 wide.
That's going 3 wide into turn 1. And Alexis is going off. Hunter seems to have lost a position there as well. And Alexis dropping back. Hunter losing it on the exit or entry of turn 2. And there's contact between Hunter and... that is Flask, I believe.
Yeah, it's indeed.
Oh no!
And there's contact between Hunter and somebody. Hunter and Capo.
That was a headbutt if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that's a lot of front end damage that those two are going to be sporting, and yeah, that was just, oh dear. That was a little bit clumsy. That just got to very, very unfortunate. Wow, Higgs has had a pretty bad day. Considering Higgs started in 10th and finds himself in 13th. Berserker, who, I mean, we started in championship order, so Berserker in 13th was actually positioned behind me. So yeah, some drivers just relish in the rain. I was doing okay with the practice I had, but much like we had last week, its consistency is absolutely paramount, particularly in these. Oh, Nest over the lead, but he's overcooked into turn 1. As 2 Desertpack trying to hold off. That's, wow, that is T-Mac. That is hanging on to 2 Desertpack and Scotland up to 4th. What a great effort for his debut race in this season, in this series. He got promoted from Tier 2. As, that's dangerous. Ginetta's on the penalty board.
Oh, so Scott was in the Tier 2 then, in this league?
He was, yes. He's been promoted up to Tier 1. And, wow, you can kind of see why from this kind of performance.
He is doing very well this race. He started in near the back, as he had not scored any points, right?
Scott was very much, because he wasn't on the championship table, because he's just been promoted, he was actually dead last. Oh, wow, who's that?
So he's done very well for himself there, and he might still catch the guys in front if he keeps going as he is right now.
Yeah, he's getting one of the fastest laps on the board, 17.6 last time around, so very impressive then in his maiden race in this tier. Still see Berserker there. I think it's
and somebody else has gone off. I believe that is
no Higgs again. Oh goodness me, Higgs! What a great shame. I was fighting him a lot. He's really struggling to get that car back going again. I wonder if I'm not sure if he stalled that one.
Here comes T-Mac.
Oh, T-Mac side by side with 2 Desertpack. Oh, T-Mac actually has the time trial record of this track. Of course, that's in the drive. He's now going to get a switch back for turn 2, but he's caught the apex. That would have lost him some momentum. 2 Desertpack around the outside manages to keep the momentum up. But of course, Nestero, which is right there as well. Scott, you just saw him in the background. He's only a couple of seconds down. So, yep, exactly as we had last weekend. It's kicking off everywhere.
And you know what this means? The fighting for the first 3 positions will mean that this is giving Scott an opportunity to catch him, which means a 4-way fight for first position as Nesterowicz hits off T-Mac to take that second position on the exit of turn 4, I believe it is.
That would have been 4, yeah, on the exit of that cut through. Yep, it was Nesterowicz and T-Mac that came together. We know how quick T-Mac is. Look at that, Scott!
And here comes Scott on the inside of turn 8 and just squeezes past T-Mac there. What a move!
That was an incredibly clean pass.
That was beautiful. But he's having to look at that. Look how early he's committed to the defensive line. He's made his statement of intent very, very clear. He's not prepared to let T-Mac have it his own way. I'm not sure T-Mac would have picked up any particular damage from that light knock from Nesterowicz. It's just taking him a little while to get back into rhythm. And there's another puddle that is really forming on the inside of the beginning part of turn 2. And it's terrible because if you catch that, it just pulls the car into the inside. Oh, 2 Des really defending well from Nesterowicz as well as they're coming into turn 3. So 2 Des working very, very hard. He was actually leading one of the races last week as well. So he will have that in the back of his mind, how quickly the fortunes can change. And as you guys saw and did a great job commentating on, it's exceedingly difficult to keep up with everything because the field is, there's always battles going on here, there, and everywhere. One mistake is exceedingly costly.
Yeah, speaking of the field, we have a big train here for the 9th position actually with Berserker, Ginetta, and Stefan and Tokusa here. So I just, a little bit of a train going on. Gonna see how they fare in this corner. Oh, that's a drifting Ginetta. Actually, 2 Ginettas drifting there. Do you think that's on purpose?
More than likely. I mean, that's Berserker that was doing that. I saw him do it last lap as well. It's one way to do it. It's I wouldn't suggest it for a longer race, but yeah, you can get away with it. Here we go again. Nesterowicz on the outside of 2 Des. He's nosed ahead. Can he get the job done? And he kind of looks like he's managed to get the move done.
Squeeze past.
Oh, and that's God. That's trying to force his way on the inside of 2 Desertpack as well. Ooh, can he manage to do it? Tupac then going to have the two Desert Packs going to have the inside for the next turn, but has he got the momentum to do it? This is going to be the brave of the brave to do an outside maneuver around turn 3. Can he do it? Nesterowicz is slightly boxing into Desert Pack. Now it's the advantage goes back over to Scott, who's on the inside for the cut through, but he's gone a little bit too deep. Two Desert Pack gets a great switchback on him. And now going to have the inside for the next Apex. They're still side by side, and two Desert Pack manages to hang on to second.
For now.
Yeah. For now, yes. He's got
There's only 48 seconds left, so it's one more lap. With Nesterowicz actually going very wide there. And Scott just taking the inside line from two Desert Pack, who did not expect to move there. And into second position. So Scott may be on fire at the moment. Even looking to take that first position in the last lap here from Nesterowicz. With two Desert Pack possibly losing out that position to T-Mac as well now, who's very close behind him. Moving onto the defensive line. Let's see if T-Mac makes a move around the outside.
Ooh.
And he does go a bit wide and can't slow down the car fast enough, which just gives two Desert Pack just enough room to take that line back.
Going back to that train further back there for 9th position, it's still going really hard. Yeah, the Kusa has been moved up to P9 from 11, so he's actually caught a fair few positions in that train there, so yeah. Okay, so last lap of the race right now, and Scott is still on the hunt for Nesterowicz here.
And T-Mac has actually passed two Desert Pack as well.
Oh yes,
and
yes.
Scott is right on the tail of that black and red Ginetta, and he might have a look around the inside the same way he did with two Desert Pack, or maybe even around the outside. He now has the outside line into the final corner, so it'll be almost a photo finish. He's a bit braver on the brakes, and he makes it past Nesterowicz for the win. What a drive!
Last corner of the last lap, and Scott steals the win. What a beauty! And you can't say that wasn't deserved. That was clean, and he is going to be terrifying in the next race.
That was incredible. And you have to remember...
I really didn't expect T-Mac to be dethroned here, but it seems like Scott has just smashed the position there. As T-Mac was so much faster than the other guy, so yeah.
73 in that last lap as well.
What we have to remember is he did this from last position, so this was almost like a reverse grid race for him.
And in 20 minutes.
Yeah, in 20 minutes. In the rain. Yeah. Wow. And he's going to be starting last but one. Last belongs to me because I had to drop out. But speaking of, I'm going to jump back down. So good luck, gentlemen. That was thrilling from this seat. Hopefully I'll last a bit longer in this race.
All right.
Thank you for
good luck,
Kodiak.
Thank you.
Yeah, now on to the main race. It's going to be 40 minutes and it's going to be overcast. So the main race is unfortunately not going to be in the rain though. So yeah,
we'll be able to see if the pace that Scott was showing here was actually his real pace, or if that was the other guy struggling in the rain as much as Scott was being good in the rain there. But that was some amazing driving we've seen from Scott. I'm speechless.
Yeah,
I am speechless.
I just really don't know what to say else than that I was kind of baffled in tier 2 in season 9, where he had like this textbook driving style when it came to like defending and everything. I learned so much from his driving and everything, and it just shows that, man, this, as he said, I don't really know what to say because he was actually last there, and how he managed to I actually have no idea. Like, he is on another level, and considering how T-Mac had the world record on this track by far, I really didn't expect someone to be faster than him, but Scott has certainly proved himself worthy of that title right now. So it's going to be interesting to see, though, in the dry, as Kodiak mentioned, that the tires are going to be at a little bit of trouble. So yeah. Reading chat in game for a moment. Yeah, guys enjoying their in the chat as well. So
Well,
yeah. So,
if the feature race is half as exciting, sign me up. This is great.
yeah, we're gonna be without a voice for like several days if considering how this was 20 minutes, like 17 minutes effective racing, and the feature race is gonna be 40. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. So yeah, the main race is gonna be overcast, and the track temperature is gonna be around 12 to 13 degrees, and the drivers are saying that they have a little bit of an issue with tire wear on the left front tire. As you can see, we're going to bring up the map later on when we're in game again, but as you can see in turn 1, there's a huge there's a really sharp 90-degree turn, and then you have a long parabolica there, and it's
Actually,
really easy.
I can bring up the track. I have
a
little
production value stream right now.
Exactly, right here. I prepared this time.
Hey, nice. Yep. So, yeah, there's the turn 1 is going to be a 90-degree turn, and then a little bit of a hairpin there. And as with these cars, you really want to get on the throttle so early, and that's going to make for some even more understeer. And yeah, so if we see some people understeering throughout this race, it might just be the tire wear on their left front there. So. Considering the track temperature is so low, I don't think the tire temp is going to be an issue, but yeah. Do you know which kind of tires you can choose on this car?
I do not know.
Actually, I just remembered that there's fixed setups, so I don't know if you can change the tires even.
You probably can't. You will start with the recommended compound, which for all cars would be the same. If it is anything like any other GT cars, there will be a soft and a medium or a hard compound. Other than that, I don't know much more.
Yeah, certainly I mean, yeah, the softs are certainly going to be optimal here, considering the low temperature. In that case. Oh. I think we might have... Yeah, Campo stating on the forums right now that he has some VR trouble, so probably why he didn't finish so good this time. Gonna check the standings real quick again. Yeah, okay, so we have in first, actually, from last round, we have Dafunk. His in-game name was DAF, and his teammate is Adalexis. So... yeah,
who
both of
actually is
drivers.
currently racing, as he's right here.
Yep. So the Funk is not in this race, and with the Funk finishing second in the sprint race and then first in the main race, has put a bit in a healthy lead in the championship. So considering how he's not in this race, that's gonna put the lead up to Iser. Actually, Iser is tied with Storm right now for second place. In first place, I mean. Then we have the Hunter in third on the podium.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, that would be second, effectively. And then we have Tudesa Pack in third. Yeah, so... gonna be a little bit of a shot in the leg there for Kodiak and Tudesa Pack in terms of the team championship, as Kodiak had to go out of that race. But yeah, I'm just excited to see if Scott can actually catch those top guys, because it's kind of early in the season, but considering it's only 4 rounds though, it's going to be intense.
This is already going to be the halfway point, the end of this race.
Oh yeah, it's actually going to be. Yeah, that's right. So for anyone watching right now, this season is kind of an interim season for the GT3 leagues. Season 11 is probably going to start after this one. So fun to see all the guys in GT3s coming out and racing in these Ginettas, because like these cars, you have this the driving style is a little bit different, and you have to like momentum is so important, and like it makes it even closer almost. Isn't it something race drivers say, that the slower the car is more fun to drive? Like around the racetrack?
I actually do believe that is something, especially sim racers have said, that if you have slower cars, the difference between drivers will be much smaller, which is also helped out by the fact that smaller cars do gain a lot more from being in a slipstream, as ground effects and aerodynamics are not as important. They can follow much closer in the corners, so all in all, it makes for better racing. Yep.
I was a little bit unroutine here and did not bring a glass of water, but I'm gonna have to do that if I am to have my voice at the end of this next race. So I'm just gonna say BRB for a second and then I'll be right back.
All right, and then I will be with you for now, as we have currently still waiting for everybody to ready up for that feature race, which will be 40 minutes long, so twice the length of the race we just had, and it will be in dry conditions, which means we'll see some differences in the pack compared to as it was before, as we don't know how much some drivers were struggling in the wet conditions compared to the dry conditions. Again, some drivers usually being faster or slower in their respective condition, or in the respective conditions that they like. Of course, with Scott doing very well there in the wet. Let's see if he can repeat that in the dry. He can challenge the world record holder T-Mac for that position.
The fear of losing is far greater than the fear of being hurt, and that means that you've very much got to weigh up your opponents to see where they are, and you're wheel to wheel with these guys. If they're in a strong situation, their car is running well, and you're both in a good position, at that point it's like playing high-speed poker. All you can do is try and gauge the profile of your opponent right, and hope that you've hope you come out in front of him.
Well, I mean, as we're waiting,
about 30 seconds till we go. Let's go. Get ready.
be as good or even better than the last one. Well, I think we're all hoping that it'll be just as good. I very much doubt that racing can get any better than what we've just seen, but then again, in that regard, I'm always pleasantly surprised. I think we'll see it calm down a bit towards the middle, as you've seen in the race just now that some groups started to form, and not everybody will be so close and so bunched up. So as we approach the 30-minute mark, or 10 minutes left, some groups will have built on track that we can watch. Another thing we have to watch for is, especially we had this in Brands Hatch, the first the sprint race was fairly calm, but the feature race then, there was quite a lot of contact between cars, which we might see here as well, as some of the slower drivers are very much at the front and the faster drivers in the rear. And these slower drivers holding up the faster drivers means frustration, and that of course leads to mistakes. So this is going to be fairly interesting. Of course, with Scott starting at the back of the grid, again, having to fight his way through. I think he's used to it from the last race. T-Mac starting a bit further back as well. Two Desert Pack starting also very, very much from the back here this time around. It'll be interesting to see who of these top drivers, these top four that we've seen in the race just now, namely Two Desert Pack, Five Aces Nesterowicz, Scott, and T-Mac, will have the easiest time of fighting through the field, as we have a
And I'm
car
back.
just moving sideways there. King Kodiak trying to maybe sneak his car into the pits for a custom setup there.
That was a hack toggle if I've ever seen one.
Very interesting scenes we've seen from King Kodiak there, who was of course just in the commentary box with us in the last race. So he was actually that good commentator we've had just now. So yeah, now you're stuck with us.
This is gonna be good though. Where is he? I can't there he is.
As we've mentioned it before, the feature race is a reverse grid from, as we have an open spot there, it seems. Somebody's missing here, I think.
Yeah, it might be. Is Campo missing? I think it's Campo. He's got some VR trouble, unfortunately.
I do believe it is Campo. Oh, Capo. No, Capo is here. It's Campo 675 that we're missing.
Campo,
You're right.
yeah, I mean the camper. Campo.
Or Campo 675, yes.
We need to call Capo for Kappa, maybe. So we can, you know. Okay, so there's a pack is actually in the front here.
As we almost have contact between two drivers just starting the formation lap. Currently in first are Dakuza and followed by Higgs Boson. So Dakuza having some very bad luck on that last lap, maybe. As he was in 9th position when we first started, or when we had a look at him fighting, so he must have lost that position the very end there. While we were busy watching that battle for first position.
Yep, trying to sort out my
following
tabs here.
that, we have Higgs Boson, Capo, Hunter, Flask, Dangerous Ginetta, Cena, Zero, Stefan, Stormont, Berserker, Iceer, as we have them form up right now. Iceer at Alexis, 2 Desert Packs.
That's Senvo. I think he's actually changed his name to with an X there as Kodiak. I've seen someone called Senvo, so.
Alright.
Kodiak called him Senvo as well.
We shall call him Zenvo. As we have Zenvo, 2 Desert Pack, 5 Aces, T-Mac, and
yeah, here's Scott in third.
Scott in 17th, and following behind that are JK, who seems to have disconnected from the last one then, and King Kodiak, who had family matters to attend to, so he's starting from the very back. Let's see where he can place his car.
Yep. Oh, they've stopped again. Letting everyone catch up. So the formation point is really a formation point right now, as they're all stopping.
As they are properly starting that formation lap now, trying to put a bit more heat into those tires maybe, as some of the drivers have been sitting for quite a while. As you can see them weaving about, coming into that S section of turn 5 and 6. Now coming up to the formation point where they'll be going side by side. Dakuza being the driver to start off the race in the acceleration zone for this feature race. So we will keep our eyes on him and when he decides to start the race.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit here and put up the speedo so we can see exactly when he actually does it. So
and that is actually a great idea.
Oh, waiting
for everybody to bunch up.
Oh, we're actually
and
waiting
accelerating
so
very late there, which might have been the right choice, as he seems to have gotten a fairly good start, giving himself enough room to not be attacked by Higgs Boson, with a lot of cars going actually side by side into that turn 1. So there's bound to be some contact there. Somebody, I believe that is Dangerous Ginetta, having gone off a tiny bit. No cars actually being pushed off the track. There's a bit of contact between Scott and somebody else there, with our camera completely gone now. Somebody's been pushed off track. JK's made up a few positions as well. In front of him are Stormont. I believe that is Zenvo.
Oh, that's a little bit of a
and
shunt there with Scott, is it?
I did not believe it to be Scott. I think
Yes,
that was at Alexis and Storment there. With Scott already having moved up to 9th position into Desert Pack. There is contact between Storment and Alexis, and they've both gone off. This is exactly what I was talking about, with some of the slower drivers holding up some of the faster drivers, and that causing issues there.
Yep, Dakusa seemingly running away with it a little bit, as the gap is now 2.5 seconds to Bosan there, so...
So
actually,
a very solid performance at the moment from Dakusa, who seems to be doing fairly well, with somebody going right in, Capo going right into the back of Higgs Boson, and Hunter going right into the side of Higgs Boson. So, not a lot, not some very bad luck there for Higgs Boson.
What? Is Scott in 4th?
With Scott already in 4th position, having overtaken to Desert Pack as well now. So we might just see the very same thing we saw from Scott last round. But he's already up into 4th position, and we're 5 minutes or almost not even 6 minutes into this race.
Well, there's a hefty battle going on behind there with Berserker and T-Mac and Flask.
With, I believe that is T-Mac, no, Flask being pushed off of track there, which now puts him under fire from T-Mac on the start-finish straight. T-Mac, of course, being followed very closely there by 5 Aces Nestero Witch. Capo fighting for position with Higgs Boson, who was, of course, hit off the track. Higgs Boson having just been overtaken by Iceer.
Oh, here comes in turn 1.
And Scott having taken 2nd position already.
I can't believe it. He's actually... yeah.
Truly a monster in these cars.
But look at Dakusa though, he's really fast.
Dakusa actually not struggling this time around, so... Dakusa putting out that 1 minute 10 seconds .6. Very solid lap time from him, considering he seemed to have been struggling with these cars in the last 3 races.
Oh, 2 teammates side by side here. Hunter and Berserker.
Hunter and Berserker.
Oh,
and T-Mac just going... That's T-Mac, I believe. Or is that Flask?
No, that's Flask. He's just blasted straight through them.
Flask having just blasted straight through them. It's difficult to tell those cars apart from behind, as they are both black and yellow. Only the front being different, with T-Mac's car, of course, having that completely yellow front, and Flask having that black front bumper.
Yep, here comes
King Kodiak. With King Kodiak actually having made up a few positions as well. He's already up into 9th position from stone dead last. And he's currently fighting for
hefty battle. He's been side by side with Nestero Witcher for like the first 3 rounds. I mean turns here. So he's actually got that position from Nestero Witch there in the end.
With T-Mac currently fighting with believe that is King Kodiak.
Yep, and Tudesepak has moved up to P4 from Stefan. Oh, that's a very interesting line.
Trying to cool down his tire by going on the cold grass there, I believe.
That could have been a catastrophic re-entry there, but kept it clean. Oh, there's someone going wide in front there, and that's Kodiak.
Kodiak going very wide and losing that position to T-Mac, and
I think we might see that Ginetta. Hunter passing him on the inside. They're just cruising through, so Kodiak losing a lot of time. Oh, here comes Capo.
That's straight. And there's contact between Capo and King Kodiak, with King Kodiak losing out there and doing a bit of a bunny hop over that. Is it a curb on that transition of turn 1 into turn 2?
Like it was a little bit of a jump there, and Berserker dodged him really nicely there. That could have been a much bigger incident, but Berserker really dodged him, so good job.
As we have it right now, there is
actually
There's a penalty on 2 Desert Pack at the moment, as well as 0 Stefan. 2 Desert Pack having a 1 second time penalty, and 0 Stefan having a 2 second time penalty at the moment.
Yep.
Yakuza
The Lexus though
currently still in front of Scott by 3 seconds. We'll see how long he can keep that lead. Although, Zenvo is also up to speed now with a 1 minute 10.3 on his last lap.
Here comes, is that Icer? Yes, that's Icer. So Icer just okay, so Berserker just moved up to P10 right now. Oh, they're battling still. There's a long train there for position for the 8th, or actually 6th position there. There's a massive train going on. A tighter battle going on in front here with Hunter and Ginetta. Oh, there's side-by-side action with T-Mac actually and Zerovic. One of those faster drivers that we saw in the first sprint race here. So yeah,
T-Mac
they
again
moved up the field very quickly.
We cannot stress this enough. T-Mac being the world record holder for time trials on this track in this car. So he is undoubtedly very, very quick. And he's just waiting for that opportunity as Nesterovic makes a mistake, braking into that turn 8 there. And possibly losing out that position on the straight there as they're going side by side, possibly into turn 1. Nesterovic, of course, having the inside line, which is the favorable one, but he loses the car over the inside curb of turn 1 as it jumps just a bit and opens up just enough for T-Mac to go through. There was a bit of contact between Nesterovic there and T-Mac, with both of them giving positions to each other now.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird, but
weird.
Excuse me for cutting in here, but Scott has actually caught the Kusa. So, yeah, Scott starting almost from last again and just blasting through the field, and has now caught up like that 3-second lead that I was talking about from the Kusa. And Scott is just on another level this time around.
With Dakusa now seemingly struggling with tire wear or tire temps, as his lap times have dropped off quite a bit. He himself being able to do a 1 minute 10, but now on the last lap doing a 1 minute 12.
Oh, Scott is just so on the attack here. I'm just gonna go on board with him for a lap here to try and understand how he drives this compared to the other guys. So we can see him there just following an inch away. Oh, looked a little bit like oversteer, but might have been tactical as it set him up really well for that next turn. And it seems like Scott has taken that turn much better than Dakusa, and that's allowed him to just get on the rear bumper again.
With Dakusa covering that inside line there, just tapping on the brakes so he has a bit more stability on his car. But that does lose him out on just a bit of speed, and now they're going side by side into turn 7 and possibly side by side into turn 8, with Dakusa having the inside line going very, very deep there, braking on the apex, which loses him out quite a lot of speed, which gives Scott the opportunity to attack him on the start finish straight and into turn 1.
Here they come down 2x2 onto the main straight, and seemingly exactly the same speed, and it's going to be about braking this time around. But Scott taking an inside liner. Oh, excuse me, that's Dakusa. Oh, and actually
Dakusa making that very same mistake that, who was it last lap made? Not last lap, but Nesterovic made, hitting that inside curb and bouncing just a bit there. With Dakusa now coming under fire from Zenvo, who is doing some very fast laps here as well.
I can't believe that I have to say this, but Scott has actually caught the lead now by 10 minutes. Has the race gone this quick? It's been 15 minutes already, and Scott has taken the lead. And just after taking the lead, he's got a 1 minute and 1 minute. 1 second gap already. So Scott's just dominating this race so far. So we're gonna catch up to the Kusa, and yeah, considering how this is a reverse grid, Dakusa might even lose even more positions here, as all of those faster guys are starting to catch up. And as I say that, we have Tedesco Pack now behind him again, with Stefan. And then there's a huge train for 6th position still, as you can see here on the main straight.
T-Mac
trying to
being able to pull a slight gap to the guys behind him, but still very far off of the lead guys. The top 5, just I'd say 7 seconds away from T-Mac. I think, considering the pace that these guys are going at, it would be a miracle if T-Mac were able to catch Zero Stefan as it sits now.
Yep. DG taking 9th position from Flask here, and Flask has caught up with him again, so might be able to take the position back again. Man, these cars are so close to each other when it comes to like they can just be glued to each other. Oh, a little bit of oversteer there from Ginetta,
which might put him under fire from Flask into turn 7 or possibly turn 8. Flask decides not to do the Scott move and go side by side into turn 7 or turn 8, and just take the slipstream or wait for a mistake under braking there from dangerous Ginetta, which possibly gives Flask a better exit out of turn 8 and onto the start-finish straight. Just behind them is...
That's Cena.
Who has some damage to his car. Flask having made that move past dangerous Ginetta into turn 1. Taking
Kodiak
the
has
outside
just retired.
line. Kodiak having just retired, it seems, which is truly a shame, as he wasn't doing all that bad this time around. Considering 2 Desert Pack is currently in P4, and is truly a shame for the Constructors Championship, the Team Championship, but nothing we can do about it.
I think Stefan, oh, that was a little bit further back than I thought. It looked like Stefan was about to make a move on to the back there, but yeah, both of them.
Scott just increasing that gap by just a bit every lap there. Although Dakusa seemingly having found his rhythm again with a 1 minute 10.8 on the last lap.
Yep. Having said that Scott is fast this time around, T-Mac is still really fast. He is setting the fastest laps of this race currently, so T-Mac is still in it. But yeah, that gap to Scott, considering how similar Scott's pace is, it's going to be tough for him to catch him here with that 10-second gap.
And you should remember, he has to pass another 4 cars before he can even try to get past Scott, as things are right now.
Yep, Nestorowicz moving up to P7 right now from Hunter. Oh, and there's actually 2 cars.
That was...
trying to figure out who...
Either Hunter or Berserker there. I think it was Berserker that went wide.
Oh, they're actually 2 by 2.
It's difficult to tell which one of the red and black cars is which.
Oh, there's
especially from further away.
So
we have Icer pushing at Alexis a bit off a track there. At Alexis, of course, having had contact with... Who was it? I believe it was Flask earlier. Was it Flask or somebody else? And taking a bit of damage on his car, so having possibly lost a bit of pace. They're still fighting for those positions though, as Icer locks up into turn 1 and loses 3 positions to the cars just behind him there. Very unfortunate.
Adelex is getting actually a time penalty there as well, I think, because of track limits, so we'll check the penalties again, as there's a fair few that's gotten them. Yeah, Zenvo with a 4-second penalty there, so Zenvo in effective 5th right now.
Oh, actually, there's so many overtaken Zenvo. So Dakusa is back up into 2nd position and has lost it. And Dakusa was going very slowly there. Does he have some damage? It doesn't appear like it, as he's now back to full speed.
Might
but
have
has
gotten a
lost
massive
quite a,
slowdown.
quite a few positions. He might have gotten a time penalty,
Flask, is it?
slowdown penalty there.
There's a yellow car. Yeah,
That's T-Mac.
yeah, that's T-Mac. As I mentioned, T-Mac having tremendous pace right now, so T-Mac
And-
catching.
Having overtaken Dakuza there and now trying to push past Zenvo. The next car on that list would be 2 Desert Pack, whom he was fighting in the last race as well. T-Mac just, as you can see, the car being very, very much on the edge there, trying to take every 100th, every 1,000th he can by making the track as wide as possible, taking the fastest line that he can find. With Zenvo going off the track and losing that position to Dakuza as well there.
Yep, got a little bit of a train going on for a 9th position right now with Nesorovic. And oh, is that? Yeah, that's Cena in front there. Oh, Nesorovic makes those 2 are teammates. That was or are they? No. Okay, so there's a Nesorovic and the GG behind him there. So both of those teammates really want to pass Cena here. So if I'm not mistaken, Cena was not in the first round.
Cena did not take part in round 1, but he is now here, and he's currently fighting for 8th position. So he's doing fairly well for his first outing. I don't quite remember where he came in last race, as we have CAT Hunter actually going into the pits. Quite a lot of damage on that little car there. Needs a bit of love, it seems.
Yeah.
At least the hood is still on. We've seen last round what these cars look like without a hood, which is an interesting look for a race car, but alas, it's not the fastest way for a car to go around a track.
Yeah, I think I remember it was Boson with the incident with at the Lexus, and because of that damage, Hunter has decided to retire. So unfortunate events for him there. I didn't really catch the incident that caused the issue, but yeah, I think it was in he was in one of those. Seems like the ones that caught him was JK and Boson there, so he might have been really far back already. And there's JK with that massive front end damage as well. And Boson
currently fighting for the those for those points in the back with Higgs Boson. Higgs Boson, of course, also having damage on the front of his car, it seems there.
Yep.
Those two not
just getting a penalty, trying to catch up to Iser here. And
as there's been some movement at the front again, it seems. As actually, no, Flask has in fact overtaken Zenvo.
Yep.
And is now on course to attack Dakuza. If Dakuza keeps struggling for pace as he currently does at the moment, he is more than 1 second slower on his last lap than Flask, so it's only a matter of time until he is caught. If this continues, of course, we only have 17 minutes left to go. It'll be interesting to see what happens now, as we have
to get Ginetta. Here they come and go on board for the turn 1 here. Yeah, Storm going
actually,
for it now.
Remember the inside, possibly trying to get a bit more braking there off of the racing line and out of the slipstream.
Yeah, just setting himself really well up for that turn there. So might have gotten a little bit more speed than DG. Yeah, as you can see him just moving over there, trying to pressure DG as much as he can. DG getting a really compromised line there, and that's put Storm. Oh, yeah, Storm is catching up now. Considering how DG actually went onto the grass there, it's actually DG taking really wide lines, it seems, every time. A little bit of a different driving style there. Here they come then onto the main straight. How fast are these cars? Okay, so probably gonna reach like a 170 or something. Yeah, 180 then.
I believe their top speed is around 110 kilometers an hour. 210 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
I believe they have around 140 or 130 horsepower. They are front engine rear wheel drive. And I believe this version of this car is also sequential.
Yep. Race calming down a little bit, except that everyone is getting track limits penalties right now. So just bringing up the times again.
As we have, like we had, Zenvo now has a 6-second time penalty. Flask has a 2-second time penalty. Desert Pack has actually gathered another 2 seconds there, as last time we checked he only had 1. And Alexis has 2, Berserker has 5, and JK has 3. That is quite a lot of drivers' penalties we have here.
Yep, so JK just in this race to try and salvage those points. Of course, yeah, that front end is not going to help him out either. So, yeah, trying to catch Boson there, which was in that huge accident with Alexis. And considering that incident, Alexis is actually keeping good pace here and holding on to that position as hard as he can from ice here.
Alexis, of course, being one of the fastest drivers, I believe, in Tier 1 in the GT3 leagues on PC, but still having some very bad luck here in the GT5 leagues, as he has had contact with quite a few cars and thus has always had the displeasure of being stuck with a damaged car and thus a bit further back in the field than he would probably like.
Yep, and here we have it actually, JK. Yeah, so hefty battle going on there for 15th position with Boson still in 16th, and now actually the Servich is moving up to 8th position there from Zenvo. So they are still battling it out, and here comes Zenvo now for the switchback attack on the main straight. Oh, he's going for it. Oh, a little bit of a squeeze there from DG. I mean, Nesterovic. Oh, yeah. So, a little bit of a switchback for both of them there, so shutting each other's doors. But Zenvo is still on the attack here, though. It's just glued to the back of Nesterovic here.
This defensive line, of course, we've mentioned this before, causes Nesterovic to lose a bit of time, which then again does put Zenvo under fire from Nesterovic's teammate, namely Dangerous Ginetta, or DG as you call him, who is currently who was just fighting Stormont, I believe, who is now on the back of that group as well.
And there's actually a hefty battle now going on now with T-Mac and Desert Pack. So T-Mac just took... They're actually been switching positions a fair few times right now. Yeah, so Desert Pack keeping that position after T-Mac held it a little bit there. So wanting to get onto that podium. A little bit of rubber banding there, but might be lag on my end.
Maybe, as I have not noticed at this race so far. Everything seems to be
fine as
they're going 3 wide
into
into turn 1. Nobody seems to have lost anything there, except for maybe Dangerous Ginetta, who is now under fire from Stormont. The green Ginetta being right on that tail of his, and going very, very wide into turn 3, which gives Stormont just enough room to make that move stick, possibly, as Dangerous Ginetta now has the inside line of turn 4, and they switch positions once again. There's some really hard battling going on with these guys for, I believe that is position 7.
Yep. Oh, that was on the edge for both of them, as Storm... DG loses a lot of pace against Storm there. Oh, Storm just flicking it out, showing himself on the GG. See if that gap yeah, that gap is increasing a little bit there, so DG actually getting a good drive of that last turn there. But further up there, we have Zenvo on Nesterovic. actually to Desert Pack, and T-Mac is still fighting it out right now for third position.
As you say that, T-Mac has just made a move past 2 Desert Pack, but 2 Desert Pack ain't letting that slide, so he's very much on the tail of that. Black and yellow Ginetta right now, looking for any opening T-Mac is going to give him, and it might come sooner than expected as he now has the draft. He might even go for a Scott-style move around here, if he can.
Yep. Speaking of Scott, Scott is now has a 7-second lap. I mean, gap now to Stefan behind him, and then even further, bigger gap to T-Mac in third now with 12 seconds. So Scott is just dominating this race. I really can't wait to talk to him in the interview afterwards if he wants to come in with us. So yeah, looking forward to that. And speaking of battling, we have. Yeah,
Desert
battle
Pack
has been
and
going on for
T-Mac still going at it, but there is another driver just behind them, or there was, until he almost lost control of his car there, namely Takuza, currently in 5th position. As these two were battling, he crept up behind him, trying to maybe have a look up in around the inside of either one of them to take back that position he had early on in the race.
Yeah, this train is still fighting it out with Senvo, Nestorwich, Ginetta, and Storm here. And Nestorwich actually taking 7th now from Senvo. So, oh, those curbs look so. There's so many two-wheel situations
as
here.
Senvo and Nestorwich actually go side by side into turn 7 now, and possibly side by side into turn 8. Senvo seems to have a little bit of an advantage over Nestorwich, but Nestorwich has the better line into the corner, but it seems like Senvo has a better line out of the corner, and he's decided to go around the inside, and they're going side by side pretty much on the pit wall there. And Senvo, can he make that move work? It doesn't seem like it, and Nestorwich keeps that position for now. But Stormhead is actually on the inside of Dangerous Ginetta again now, and might have a look around the inside into turn 3 as well now. So Nestorwich defends from Senvo, and Dangerous Ginetta goes very wide there, giving Stormhead enough room to mount an attack, but not seemingly enough for Stormhead to come out victorious.
Yep, heading into Sector 2 now.
Some very exciting scenes from these guys, as their paces are seemingly identical. None of these guys can really overtake or get overtaken, as Nestorwich makes a bit of a mistake there. His car becomes a bit unstable, and now Senvo has a much better line into turn 8 than Nestorwich, which gives him a lot of speed over him on that start finish, and he might just take him here before even the braking zone. Seems to have just pulled off just a car's length there.
And Storm.
And Storm is going side by side with Dangerous Ginetta, as Senvo has actually made that move stick. Incredible scenes here. A very clean move as he goes wide on the exit of turn 2, which gives that position back to Nestorwich.
Yeah, during that first turn kerfuffle there, Nestorwich got another penalty, so might actually have lost that position in the process of going off in turn 1 there, fortunately. So here they come again though, into Sector 2 in the SS. And this, it seems like the most important turns have been like the 2 last turns here, as we're actually considering how these cars do not have that much power. That turn has just been crucial to get the good exit in. Actually managed to pass. Oh, as we see it again, actually, Senvo, losing a little bit of momentum there on Nestorwich. Storm and Ginetta going side by side in the background there. Nestorwich going a really defensive line there, shutting the door on Senvo. Oh, Storm. This is so close.
And you know, the laughing third man might just be Dangerous Ginetta and Stormont, as neither of them currently have a penalty, whereas Zenvo and Nesterovic do. With Nesterovic with a 3-second time penalty and Zenvo with a 7 seconds time penalty there. Dakuza has now received one as well earlier, as he now has a 2-second time penalty. And it has just been overtaken by Flask as well.
Yep, so here's Flask. Dakusa so far back there, he must have... Yeah, I can see that lap time. He's made us 1:16, so he must have made a massive mistake there for Flask to get the position. Bolson and JK are still fighting it out now with Bolson in front of JK. Yeah, it's probably difficult for JK to keep that car together on the track. Yeah, and we have it still... this battle is still going on.
Train for 7th position still going on. You're right about that. As we have now hit the 5-minute mark, so there's not much left of this race. We'll see if there's any change of positions between these guys, at least on track.
Oh, Senvo taking the late apex. They're trying to get the better exit than Nesterovic, but as you can see, they're getting desperate here, trying lines that they didn't try before here to try and just get that position. So, yeah,
this is some great battling though. And it is truly a beauty to see, as Zenvo decides to slot it behind Nesterovic in turn 7 to put on some pressure, and there's...
Oh no! That was close.
Dakuza's actually hit the wall, it seems, as the front of his car is damaged.
Oh, I can't believe how close that was.
Zenvo has gone off the racetrack, I think, under braking, and has lost the rear due to that. Going off just a bit too far to the left, dipping that left rear tire, I think, on the grass, and just losing it there.
Yeah, so he was pushing so hard to try and get Nesterovic there, but loses out to both Storm and Ginetta now. And Storm is now on the attack for Nesterovic. Actually, as you said that they are both the laughing men here, as if he can get ahead of Nesterovic here, he's going to have a lot of free air up against Flask. So
as they're now side by side, and Stormont, remember, Stormont will probably have the inside line into the S section, which gives him just maybe just enough to go ahead, as he does not seem to have the pace, or maybe has dropped back behind Nesterovic, which they just pulled a tiny gap there to Ginetta and Zenvo. Stormont possibly having a look up around the outside of turn 1 as they are going side by side out of the exit of turn 8 there.
Storm has just overtaken Nesterovic though.
Storm is now overtaking Nesterovic, so his exit was even good enough for that. And if he can keep that position into turn 1, which it seems like he can, he might be able to pull just a tiny gap there.
Yeah, Zenvo is on the outside of DG here. Oh, they're actually going still side by side in turn 2, so with to turn 3 now.
Dangerous Ginetta still taking the outside line, but going very, very wide. They're losing a lot of time. Now has the late apex, which might give him just enough room to come back at Zenvo. Doesn't do that though.
Yep. Here's Dakusa. That's not Dakusa.
That is not Dakusa. That is Dakusa.
Yep. That is Dakusa, yeah. So Dakusa seemingly catching a little bit of damage. Yeah, you can see that front end is a little bit smashed up, but he's setting lap times that it can compete with DG at the moment, so we might see the Dakusa catching up to them here. Oh, here comes Zenvo again. Oh.
Now Zenvo against Nesterovic, which is happening again. Zenvo this time around the outside, not the inside, which might be the advantageous point, as he can pressure Nesterovic to go as close to that apex as possible, which can cause Nesterovic to lose a lot of time. And he seems like he's done that, but there's a switchback move from Nesterovic, and they keep their positions. This must be very, very frustrating for Zenvo at the moment, as Nesterovic seems to be able to shrug off everything that he throws at him.
Yeah, and Storm now in free air, and oh, we're actually having a three long train here.
We have 1 minute left on the clock. So if we move over to Scott, I believe, this coming up lap will be the last lap.
Oh, he's about to lap Alexis even. Yeah, that hurts. So yeah, we really need to ask Scott what's going on here when he comes in for that interview, because this pace is not something you just get out of your back pocket, or of course if you're a legendary racer, I guess. But yeah, so going back to this again, Senvo still, that's Ginetta behind, I mean side by side him, and they come into turn 1 here.
And Zenvo might have finally made the move work, and there's
teammates.
contact between Dangerous Ginetta and 5 Aces Nestero, which there.
Oh, so
As-
hopefully this is actually boiled down to a battle between teammates now.
The race, I think, is over now as Scott
There we are.
comes across the finish line just as the timer runs out there. From
Yep,
last
and there
to
comes Alexis
first,
behind him.
yet again.
Wow.
Zero Stefan currently in second, with T-Mac currently in third, but we don't know how things pan out with the penalties as they sit right now. Stefan is still second and T-Mac is third. It's really weird, as almost the entire field except for Scott, Storment, Ginetta, and Bosun all have penalties.
Yep, so that's a very red field, as you can see on the top left there. So I can't wait to see the standings and see what actually happens. Here they come, and man, this midfield battle was intense. Like, it's so cool to see not just one battle, but two battles going on at the same time even. So, very good race.
While
And-
it wasn't as hectic as the sprint race, the battle between for that 7th position was very, very
He's about
close
to
there.
take 14th. Oh, that was close. Almost took 13th from Cena there.
And the
14th.
race is over, I think.
Yep.
So we'll have a look as it stands now. We have Scott, Zero, Stefan, and T-Mac, followed by Flask, 2 Desert Pack, Stormant, Dangerous Ginetta, 5 Aces Nestero, Witch Dakuza, Zenvo, Berserker, Icier, Cena, Higgs Boson, JK, and Ed Alexis in 16th.
Yep.
If
Yeah.
you want, you can try pulling up the podium people.
I will be right back.
And I will just entertain you for the while. So we have it. Let's have a look at the fastest laps of this race up, as we can't do that. But I think it was the fastest lap by Scott, who did a 1 minute 10.19, I think. Followed by possibly T-Mac there. But I'm not sure. As we have it, I will now pull up the standard screen again here. And as soon as my commentator friend Insulaventus gets back, we'll have some comments from, first of all, the race winners, Scott, Stefan, and or T-Mac. Hopefully.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm gonna bring the man up in a second and trying to find the right commentary box, and there we go. So I don't really, we were actually left speechless right here, Scott, because where the hell did that pace come from?
I have no idea. Like, my pace in the rain, I have no idea. But I think basically the main thing was just keeping those apexes and being easy with the throttle, I found. I mean, these cars haven't got a lot of power, but being easy with the throttle really helped you get that extra bit of grip.
Yeah, man, because in round 1, T-Mac was definitely the fastest guy, and then you come now in round 2 and just smashes everything here as you get win from last to first in round 1, and the same in round 2. I mean, main race as well.
I wasn't expecting the win in the first race, to be honest with you. Starting from the back, I had no idea what the pace of these guys were going to be, but yeah, definitely pleased with it.
Yeah, seemingly intense battles going through the field as well, so might be slowing down a fair few people. So might be really worth it to practice battling as.
Oh, well, yeah, definitely, because going through the pack, you really had to be sort of aware wherever the other guys were, because there was a lot of moving around and there was a lot of positions being fought. And my main thing is I didn't want to be taken out really. So yeah, but happy with the result. Awesome.
Yeah, congrats, man. I can't really wait for round 3 and 4 now to see if you can keep this up though. With we saw that T-Mac actually matched you on pace for a few moments, but once you got in the front there, you just went through. I mean, yeah, we really don't know how you did it.
Yeah, cheers, mate. I don't even know myself, to be honest with you. I was just getting there. Right, let's give this a go, and yeah, it was awesome. Honestly, awesome.
Yeah, it's fun to hear that you enjoyed it, and considering how our championship leader Dafunk is not in this round, so you might actually be catching up to the front real quick here in this league. Considering how it's so short though, but
I mean, if I know we've only got 2 races left or 2 rounds left, but hopefully I can be a fight for championship.
Yep. So I think we have actually lost our second and the third podium finishers here in the Discord. So who was in second again? I can't believe I always forget.
Zero Stefan was in second, and T-Mac was in third.
Yep, so I can see that T-Mac is still down there, so I'm going to try to bring him up there as well. Just if you want, Scott, you can just stay here if that's fine by you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, be right back.
All right, though, that was seriously some driving, man. I don't.
Yes,
did you put a V8 in that car? Or?
No, honestly, I thought I'd just turn up for it and see how I do, really, because I was watching the last stream. I thought I didn't realise that this league was going on, so I signed up and yeah, got straight down with it, and awesome drive.
Yeah.
Hey, and the T-Mac is still with us again now, as we are the second podium. I mean, the second place was not in Discord, so yeah. I mean, T-Mac, I have to say to you, I think you might have been dethroned here as the fastest guy in this league currently.
Yeah, no, Scott was rapid in the wet. Like, no one could have touched him there. Dry, yeah, just I got a rubbish start and then got involved with a lot of things and just didn't get any clear running, I don't think. But no, yeah, fair play to Scott. He was lightning today.
Thank you.
Yep. I mean, we were having so much action going on in the midfield. There was I think there was a train with 8 cars going. So I just can't imagine how he did it, Scott, as carving through that, as all of them cars were just locked there. So,
yeah. I think in the second race there was a lot of luck, because going into the first corner, I can't remember on what lap, sort of around maybe lap 5 or something, I think there must have been a bit of a tangle up and about 5 cars went wide into the gravel. So yeah, got a lot of places through someone else's mistake.
Yeah, I saw at the race start, because I was on the left and I saw Scott go down the outside, and by turn 2, you're 6 positions ahead. It was how has he done that?
Yeah,
just a great start.
Bit of as you said, put a V8 in it.
Yeah, fair play, mate. Fair play.
Thank you. It was good driving from the others as well, from Zenny as well. I think he was catching me up in the second race, and I was thinking that he's going to give me a run for money, but I'm lucky. I think he had a little tangle with Dakuza, I think it was.
Yeah, there was actually a 4-way battle between Nesterovic, Zenvo, Storm and the DG, Dangerous Ginetta. That I think we covered that battle like the last 5-6 minutes, because it was just it was an intense battle going on there. So
I think that was helping me get away as well.
yeah. But yeah, so okay, Team Mike, where did you finish in the sprint race?
And the endurance was third as well. So two thirds for me, which I'll take.
Okay,
I'm happy with that.
Still podiums, it was good, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's probably gonna bump you a fair way up into the championship. But yeah, so yeah, Da Funk is not competing today, so he's probably gonna get knocked down. And yeah, it might be actually you two finding it out in the end. So yeah, can't wait for round 3 and 4. So
Yeah, should be a good one.
Yep, definitely.
Yep, I think this this is going to be the only round with rain in it, though. So yeah,
Sadly,
sadly, the rain race was a lot
good for all of us.
Yeah, the rain race was a lot of fun to watch, though. So yeah,
Yeah,
but
it was a lot of fun.
I think that's it. We're going to wrap it up with this, I think. So thank you for coming into the interview. It's always fun to listen to you. I think I mentioned it several times in the stream that we have to get Scott in here and try to get him to explain what had just happened here. But yeah,
I honestly don't know myself. It was really good racing from all the others, though. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, good fun, good clean racing.
Yep. And with that, I think I'm gonna hand it over to our fellow broadcaster, Fistopheles.
All right, yeah. And with that, we're pretty much done. Next week's race will be round 3. It'll be at Catalonia National. Race 1 will start at 11 a.m. in-game. The setting will be heavy cloud, and the feature race will be at 4 p.m. in-game. The setting will be clear. Of course, all starting times are 8 p.m. UK time. So we'll be glad to see you there next week. And until then, stay frosty.